Hey, what's good, gamers? Aklon here, and of course, welcome back to each and every one of you. This video is going to be sort of an analysis of the calling, but I think far more than that, it's going to be an analysis of Anduin, and specifically what Anduin is going to be doing. You know, what can we expect from Anduin? He's been gone for quite some time. He looks to finally be back. So we're going to be talking about that, and talking a little bit about the light's place in all of this. So firstly, let's talk about the calling. In the calling, I think the book does an incredible job of explaining to us or giving us insight into the mindset of Anduin. And there are two fundamental things that is currently wrong with Anduin. Number one is that Anduin refuses to use the light. Now, this is very different. I've heard some people sort of claim that this is similar to what Thrall went through, and this is just a recycled story of the Thrall story. That's wrong. Just going to say. So with Thrall, the ancestors and the elements actually refused to answer Thrall. And this had to do with Thrall not believing in himself and not trusting that he could still wield the elemental powers. And so the elements couldn't answer him. With Anduin, it's similar but not the same. Anduin refuses to even try. Unlike Thrall, that did try, nothing happens. Anduin refuses to even try, even in the moment when one of his friends, someone who became a very dear friend to him, lies dying. And if you haven't read The Calling yet, I read it for you, so you can just listen to mine on the channel if you don't want to read it yourself, or go read it yourself. It's pretty good. Even when his friend is lying there dying, Anduin will not even try. And Anduin will not try because he's afraid. He's afraid of the light not answering, because he doesn't know what he would be without the light. He has spent his entire life using the light in service of his people. And then the next thing that sort of keeps Anduin at bay, and one of the reasons he's kept himself apart from everyone else, is fear. Anduin doesn't quite know who or what enjoyed being controlled by Zuval. In fact, it's hinted at multiple times and even stated outright that while he was under the mind control of Zuval, he enjoyed it. And he doesn't know if it was the spirit of the corrupted Shalamon, or Charlemagne, but Shalamon, I think, should have been the name of the sword. Instead, they went with Kingsmorn, but what do I know? You know, I'm just a YouTuber that thinks Shalamon is a much cooler name than Kingsmorn, but never mind that. He doesn't know if it was maybe Arthas that enjoyed it, and he felt that joy from Arthas. Was it Zuval that enjoyed it, and that's what he felt, or was it him? He doesn't know how to discern between the different beings that were a part of him during all of that. And so he doesn't trust himself. He doesn't know what would happen if he lost himself. And that's why he hides the sword and all of his armor and everything in a cave, right? So far away that no one could ever find it. Because again, he does not want to help anyone, because he doesn't trust that once he has that sword and he wields and he dons that armor, he'll be able to stop. Maybe he goes on and he just kills a bunch of innocent people, and that would be kind of problematic. So he doesn't want to go there. And throughout the short story, Anduin comes to realize that, no, he's cool, he's good. Now, I want to focus on the light but a little bit, because I do think that's where the most interesting, the sort of part of him not trusting himself, that is sorted out in the short story already, when he does finally save a group of people, and he realizes that he is still good. You know, he didn't go on a killing spree, he didn't kill a bunch of innocent people. He did sort of get a lot angry at the bad guys, and he did kill all of the bad guys, but he didn't kill any of the good people, you know? And he had the ability to stop. He had the ability to sort of halt himself. So that takes care of that fear. The light is a very interesting one. Now, I want to be very clear. Anduin's service of his people through the light is very different to what the members of the army of the light does. So people like Turalian, for example, serve the light. And while, yes, in a lot of cases, the light and what the light wants is the protection of the people, they still serve the light. Now, with Turalyon, it is sort of a mixed bag. You have Illyria in there that is sort of, I guess you could say, kind of softening Turalyon a little bit, because ordinarily, if you are part of the light, part of the army of the light, you are single-minded in your hatred of everything that isn't light. Now, of course, Turalyon can't be that, because the one he loves most in this world is literally the opposite of the light. And so Turalyon does have that sort of mindset. Now, I have theories about what could potentially happen to Turalyon. For example, I believe that something's going to happen to Illyria in Midnight, towards the end of the War Within, and then going into Midnight. I believe that Illyria is going to be lost to the void. This event, I believe, is going to push Turalyon into a complete light frenzy, and that will then bring Arator, the child of light and shadow, to the fore, because Arator is the one that's supposed to restore balance. Now, the light believes that the child of light and shadow can only restore balance insofar as the light views balance as the light winning. The void obviously views balance as the void winning, but balance would mean that neither side wins and both become balanced. And I believe that's where Arator is going to come in. You're going to have Illyria at the forefront leading the armies of the void, and you're probably going to have Turalyon at the forefront leading the armies of the light, and Turalyon being completely overcome with devastation and sadness and anger at the loss of Illyria. They're just going to clash, and chaos is going to ensue, and their child, Arator, the child of light and shadow, is going to be the one that sort of, calms things down a little and rebalances things. That's sort of my speculation theory about that. But in that moment, should Turalyon go full light Nazi, the light doesn't put people or mortals above its own ambitions. So if you are a servant in the army of the light, then you serve the light first. And if the light's ambitions and the interests of mortals were to ever collide, were to ever cross to where the light needs to kill a bunch of mortals in order to do their thing, I guarantee you that the light will cross those lines. And before you think to yourself, well, Turalyon wouldn't do that, that's not who he is, we already saw at the start of Shadows Rising what Turalyon was willing to do. While Illyria was torturing innocent people, civilians, Turalyon was holding them down using the light. So clearly the whole, save people, help people with the light, didn't really apply when they were hunting Sylvanas. So, and you might say, well, this was an important thing, Sylvanas is a real threat, and they have to take care of Sylvanas. And to that I would say, well, morality does not care about the circumstance in which you apply it. If you are a moral being, then you would apply morality in all things. Anduin, for example, I can't imagine ever holding people down so that they can be tortured. Unless, of course, Duval is mind controlling him. So, just there. And I do think that it makes for a really good dynamic. The way that I read the short story before the calling about Illyria and Arator and Turalyon, it feels like Blizzard is truly setting up Illyria and Turalyon's love story to be a sort of heartbreak moment. And I want to prepare people for that. Blizzard have already said that players should be willing to lose people in this expansion, because it doesn't mean anything if there aren't any stakes. And one of the most assured ways of getting people involved in a story is a love story that breaks, right? So, long lost loves, they've been each other's worlds pretty much for thousands of years, at least to their perspectives. And if that love were to break, I think a lot of people would be very involved in that. And it looks like Blizzard is doing their utmost to sort of cement their love story, only to tear it down. That's my prediction. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do think that is going to happen. Because I think fundamentally that plays into what Midnight is going to be. Xalatath leading the forces of the Void with Locust Walker, and ladies and gentlemen, I can't express to you how little trust I have for Locust Walker. I made an entire video about it. I don't trust this dude. He just happened to show up at this very opportune moment. He stops Illyria from joining the Army of the Light, instead introduces her to the service of the Void, and then continuously pushes her to go deeper, to give in more, to accept more power from the Void, even though we know that no one can withstand the power of the Void. As I said in my breakdown of that video, the problem with the Void is that not even Nalfarian, a dragon blessed by the Titans, not even Nalfarian could withstand the whispers and the powers of the Void. And you're telling me that Illyria is somehow going to be doing that? I doubt. I just doubt. I don't think that you can truly prepare yourself to the point where standing against those whispers is possible. And I think that Locust Walker knows this. I think Locust Walker is preparing her. Now, I've made an entire video about what he's preparing her for. You can go watch that. But the long story short is, this brings in the light. This brings Anduin very much to the fore. Remember, Anduin right now, yes, he's back. But he's not back as the King of Stormwind. Anduin isn't back as the leader of the Alliance. You can see it in the cinematic with Thrall. He wants to know what is going on. He wants to know where these voices are coming from, where this vision is coming from. But Anduin is in no way or shape or form back as the King of Stormwind or even as the leader of the Alliance. He doesn't believe that he belongs there yet. Maybe there's still some growth that needs to take place. But we don't. What we know is that he just doesn't want it yet. That leaves Turalyon. And this means that should Turalyon become more fanatical in the light, this drags the Alliance alongside him, right? It pulls the Alliance towards the light in a much harsher fashion than ever before. But this also sets up a very unique opportunity for Blizzard to create a duality of choice, where players can choose to go with Turalyon and the Army of the Light, or Illyria and the Army of the Void, especially if Blizzard creates it correctly to showcase that neither of these two forces actually have the best interests for Azeroth in mind. And so, we have to sort of pick between two very evil things because we can't fight both at the same time. So if we want to win, we first have to beat the one and then beat the other one. And then maybe Arator will be that voice of reason that comes in and finally calms the two sides down and brings balance so that we can kick ass and take names. So that's my sort of thinking about it when it comes to Midnight and what Midnight is. I think we're originally going to see the Void make major gains in Midnight. That's when we'll see the activation of the light, and the light will obviously now, at this point, you will almost definitely see Titan involvement. Because remember what Ericron said, they will only come once Azeroth is in danger. They will not come when the mortals are in danger. They couldn't give two craps. But once Azeroth is, that's when they'll arrive. I can't think of more dangerous territory for Azeroth than the light and the void both being let loose on Azeroth. So then you have the Titans, and then we have the Last Titan. There's some interesting stuff. Also, we know now that the giant crystal inside the roof is Titan Bolt. It's some kind of Titan facility. A forgotten one, an unnamed one that's never been featured before. And we know that the Sword of Sargeras turned it void, or at least pulsing between void and light. Things are about to get interesting. Anyways, if you liked, hit the like button. If you dislike, hit the dislike button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think is going to happen to Anduin and the light. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Ladies and gentlemen, for $1 a month, you too can help keep this channel free from sponsorships that want to sell you shit that you do not need. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace.